Hey everybody, this is Michael from The Mind of Christ. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. The Mind of Christ, we explore holistic healing, Christian experience, biblical interpretation, all in light of Jesus' finished work on the cross. If you're new here, I want to encourage you to engage with us. Leave comments, like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel. Check out my resources. You can find links below in the description. So I had this really interesting question come in through my website and I want to answer it on a YouTube video. And the question is, are women naturally more sensitive to the Holy Spirit? Very interesting question. In my experience, yeah, I've found that to be true. I've noticed more women manifesting both the fruits and the giftings of the Holy Spirit, more so than men. So why is that? Is there a reason for that? Let's explore. So I think it's a matter of, and by the way, this is coming from someone who's very interested in psychology, therapy, stuff like that. So I think this is a matter of really understanding the difference between what you might call masculine energy and feminine energy. Masculine energy tends to be logical, disciplined, secure, and accountable. Masculine energy tends to take action using logic and reason as its driving force. Feminine energy tends to be more intuitive, creative, spontaneous, vulnerable, forgiving. It's more passive. Feminine energy is more passive than masculine energy. It uses intuition and emotions as the driving force, versus the masculine energy is more logic and reason. Now, I want to be really careful because I'm not describing men and women. I'm describing masculine energy and feminine energy. Men can manifest feminine energy. Women can manifest masculine energy. That's very important to understand. So all of us have a certain ideal balance, I like to call it, an ideal balance of these energies that kind of work through our souls, through our entire lives, according to God's unique design. And we all are designed uniquely. We're all fearfully and wonderfully made in our own way. But all of us are kind of balancing these energies in a special way throughout our lives. So generally speaking, women tend to manifest more feminine energy. Men tend to manifest more masculine energy. But again, a man can manifest both, a woman can manifest both, and they will. So I think hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit actually requires a certain feminine energy. It requires a certain intuition, a certain sensitivity, because feminine energy tends to receive. Masculine energy gives. And men, being logically driven beings, don't often orient themselves. We don't tend to orient ourselves around our intuition and feelings, generally speaking. You know, think of the times that men kind of mock getting in touch with your feelings, right? We kind of mock that in our American culture, which is just so silly, because there'd be a lot of value to gain from that if we could open our minds to that, but we don't. So in order to manifest, in order to grow in certain giftings of the Holy Spirit that rely on intuition, men have to develop their feminine energy to receive, to be still, to be passive. And we do this by actively cultivating the fruit of the Spirit. But we can develop this feminine energy by going after those qualities and really saying, I want to develop these qualities, this love, this joy, this peace, this patience. That helps us, shapes us into more passive vessels to receive from God. And we also need to cultivate silence in our lives. We need to cultivate that stillness so that we can be able to receive and be able to hear from the Holy Spirit. That's prayer. That is the heart of prayer right there. Prayer is not shouting on the microphone on Sunday mornings. Prayer is just being still and cultivating that stillness and silence so you can receive, so you can be a vessel that gets filled with the oil of God and the love of God, the voice of God. And men can logic and reason is important, but it needs to be balanced with that emotion, with that intuition. We can create this kind of balance in our lives where we're both. And Jesus Christ is a very, very good example of a man who walked in an ideal balance of the masculine and feminine energies. His masculine energy prompted him to take action on what he was receiving through his feminine energy, through his intuition, through his feeling. Look at what he says in John chapter 5, this is verse 19, very truly I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do, notice this word do. So do means action. He can act, he can do only what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. So we see that word do, does. But it's coming from that place of knowing what the Father is doing. And Jesus was clearly a sensitive man. There's no denying that. So whatever your opinion is, there's no denying that Jesus was a sensitive man. He was sensitive to God. He was sensitive to the Holy Spirit. And he manifested strong, very strong, intuitive spiritual giftings. But he was also a man of discipline. He had a disciplined prayer life. He was disciplined in his mission. Remember, he gave himself to God's will, up to the point of death even. So he had this sense of mission and this sense of action, but he also was able to receive in prayer instructions and guidance. And that was how he was able to minister so powerfully and effectively. He's an ideal model and pattern for us. So when I'm doing spiritual coaching work, or when I'm teaching on hearing the voice of God, I notice that the women I work with tend to develop the gift of hearing God's voice way faster than a man would. God, of course, is working through our mind, body, emotions. And women seem to be naturally more kind of in tune or in touch with their internal world. Messages from heaven, messages from the spiritual realm, that comes way easier to women than to men. And again, remember, that's because women already have a fair amount of feminine energy. Men have to work a little bit harder to develop that. I've noticed that our modern culture and our church, we tend to value drive, right? We build the church. It's kind of like this business model. We value this ambition, this logic, this reason, this business model. We're very, very underdeveloped in our silence, our intuition, our gentleness, our kindness, our listening skills to God. The wisdom and the promptings of God are intuitive. At the end of the day, they're intuitive. It's something we can hear and respond to. And that can be very offensive to the logic of the world. Look at this Bible verse. This is 1 Corinthians 2:14. The person without the Spirit, meaning the Holy Spirit, does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness and cannot understand them because they are discerned, they are received only through the Spirit. That's 1 Corinthians 2:14. So women tend to be more naturally sensitive to the voice, the promptings of the Holy Spirit. That allows them more easily to move in gifts of the Holy Spirit, like prophecy or visions and dreams or revelations, because they're hearing. And us men, we develop those giftings. We develop our intuition. We develop our listening skills to God by focusing on growing and cultivating our feminine energy, that passive energy that sits in stillness and silence, that has a willingness to receive. That's how we develop our spiritual giftings, by, jokes aside, getting in touch with our feminine side. That's how we do it, guys. So that's a fast answer to this question about are women more sensitive to the Holy Spirit? Are women more gifted in the Holy Spirit, if you will? And of course, remembering with all of this, there's multiple ways that God manifests himself, right? There's the more masculine gifts, if you will, like administration, things that, again, are more logic-driven, that are more action-driven. But I really believe that all of us, whether you're a man or a woman, all of us can really develop and cultivate the energy that is not our gender. So I'm a man. I'm going to work on developing my feminine energy as well as my masculine energy. Women, you can work on developing your masculine energy as well. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's it for today. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because this is a really interesting topic. So leave a comment below. Again, like this video, subscribe to our channel, share this video, check out the Mind of Christ website, check out our books. And until next time, this is Michael. I'll see you soon.